TV Uganda Youth and Prominence Program. Still with our guest Prima Chivuka, excelled in Senior 4 chemistry, but like I promised you in this program, she will be able to tell us how she performed generally. Is she only at D1 in chemistry? Prima, please.
Well, I got 10 aggregates, 10 in 8 aggregates in my UCE examinations. I got a D1 in physics, in chemistry, math, history, CRE, literature. Then I managed to get a D2 in agriculture and biology, then a C3 in geography and English.
Those are Prima's grades. Her worst is a credit 3. But remember, Prima began in Senior 1. Right from Senior 1, end of year holiday, she requested for help. Senior 1s, you're not too late to prepare for Senior 4. 8 distinction 1s, all-rounder, a D1 in literature, a D1 in chemistry, you're smart. However, Prima is going to share with us her smartness. I know her to be coming from a family whereby she has to do housework. That's when I know there's no compromise in their home. Prima has had a phone from very early. And I would like us to go straight. Just give us a run through of your typical day during the COVID season. A normal COVID day, a normal day. From morning, Prima, do they clean your feet? Does somebody clean your room?
No.
Who makes your breakfast? That's what I would like to hear.
During a normal day, during the first COVID period, we decided to make a timetable for our home chores.
Timetable.
So we sat down and created a timetable for the 4 of us. So me and my brother would cook breakfast, and we had a house help who would prepare lunch, and we'll do the other activities. So we woke up in the morning. If it is my day to prepare breakfast, I wake up as early as 7. I make sure breakfast is ready by 8. So by 8, if I have anything else, maybe to wash supper utensils or mop the house or sweep the compound, I make sure I do it. And maybe by 9, I time myself by 9, I should be done. So at 9, I have my breakfast. Then at 10, there used to be BBS lessons.
Television, the one which we look down on.
Yes, at 9 there used to be BBS lessons. On Monday, it was chemistry.
So you would add on knowledge.
Yes, in addition to what I already knew.
What you already knew.
Yes, even if they used to teach something that I already knew, I would still go ahead to sit down and listen. Because you never know, what they are mentioning may not be in our notes. So on Monday it used to be chemistry, Tuesday it used to be physics, Wednesday used to be English, is it? Then Thursday, mathematics, Friday, I don't remember the timetable very well. So it was from 10 to 11. So I sit down and listen to those lessons. After that, I read from 11 to lunchtime. So that's from 11 maybe up to 2 or sometimes 3. But I make sure that if I'm to read, I don't read one subject for more than 2 hours. I would someone to read math for maybe 1.5 hours, then maybe biology for another 1.5 hours. So I have my lunch. So from lunch, maybe let's say we have had lunch at 2 up to 3. So at 3, I get 3 up to maybe 5:30, sometimes 6. I read another 2 subjects, each maybe 1.5 hours. So from 6 there, I go and play. For example, I would play volleyball at home, or football sometimes, or play video games or watch TV, anything. So after playing, of course, shower, have supper. Every night, that night time you're tired.
Very. After doing 4 subjects, you're tired?
Yes, you're tired. So I make sure before I sleep, I do a number which involves calculations. A subject that involves calculations, maybe physics or math or chemistry. There's more concept numbers. So I would try out at least 5 numbers before I sleep. So I make sure I sleep by 11 and wake up the following day at 7, because I'm not so much of a morning person, like 4, 5, yes.
You're in bed. To all the teachers who teach on television station, especially Prima talks about BBS. When you are on the screen, you may not know which child is paying attention. Prima has just given testimony. She even remembers what subject she had on what day. So teachers, while you're there, do it very well, knowing that there is a child waiting for you out there. I want to thank all the teachers who have been teaching on all social media platforms, on television stations. Prima says that even when she knew a topic, she would listen again, just in case there is something more that she doesn't have in her book. Students, that's a positive attitude. So now we go back to Nabisunsa for our final phase. No, before that, Prima, you need to tell us something about the phone. I know your parents have trusted you with a phone. So 1.5 hours and another 1.5 hours and another 1.5 hours. Some of us sit on the phone for 6 hours. Tell us something, Prima.
Challenging, first of all. It's addictive. You always want to see what's moving, what's new, want to be updated. But I said, if I'm going to be like this, I won't be able to cover much. I told myself, if I'm always on the phone, I'll not be able to cover much. So I decided to limit myself. If I say when I wake up in the morning, maybe if I want to be online, I can be online for like 30 minutes, put down the phone, do my housework, sit and read. Then when it comes to reading, I always like reading with mock papers. So of course I would need to use my phone, but I would say I'm not going to tempt myself to go to any social media platform. So I would simply open the papers and do them. Yes, when it's lunchtime, of course you go back to the phone, but then after I used to just control myself.
Young people, it's possible to control yourself. She's not saying that her mother beat her. She's not saying they hid her phone. She's not saying that teachers, there was Madame Sarah looking over her head. She says she felt she needed to control it. I am glad you're hearing the message from a young person, and the young person is telling you we can control ourselves. Thank you so much, Prima. I needed to bring that out because we feel like withdrawing all our children's phones, but students, it's up to you. Do something about self-discipline. She doesn't say they took the phone. She would get back to it at lunchtime, and she would get back to it in the evening. Prima, we report back to school, and the teachers are rushing through.
Well, at school, good enough I had covered most of the things. During the first COVID period, when we went back to school, was it around September. After that period, when we went back home before Christmas, I made an effort to visit a chemistry teacher to finish those topics that we hadn't yet studied, because I knew when we go back to school, it's just going to be rushing through.
Yeah.
So I made an effort and made sure that by the time I go back to school, I had finished the chemistry syllabus, the math syllabus, almost all physics syllabus. So by the time I went back to school, I was just now, it's like as if I was revising through what I had learned. So things were now a bit faster for me.
Holiday, third term holiday, that short holiday was not a time for a break. Prima was reading. Her aim was to complete her syllabuses. She looked up the teachers. But Prima, you give us the impression that your parents are always driving you around, from one teacher to another. Prima, how do you get to those teachers? I know your parents drive, of course. But how do you get to those teachers?
I take myself. They give us transport and they say we are not going to babysit you. If you want to go to the teachers, you have to go there by yourself. So if they're going in the morning to work, they can drop you off. Maybe if I'm going to Gayaza, they drop you off on Kalere, so you board a taxi to Gayaza. If maybe you're going to town, they can take you up to sometimes Kalere, depending on the nearest point. Then you board the border to town. Yes, but I would take myself.
How did you survive, not going to a different place? Like they're expecting you to go and see the math teacher in Gayaza. How come you didn't branch off, Prima? What was in your heart? You're not Prima, you're a child, but I want you to say it the way it is.
Self-discipline,
and focus.
self-esteem, you know, trying to drive yourself.
Well, Prima is appearing like for her the world doesn't tempt her. I am sure she's tempted like everybody else. But I want Prima to tell us what is that thing in her that keeps her focused on what is major. Prima, there must be something in you that you look for because your mom works for a very busy organization. Your dad is so busy, so they've dropped you in Kalerwe. What was that driving force that kept you going?
I don't know.
Focus.
I think it's just focus. I was focused and I never wanted to really divert on other things.
So a 10 in 8 is a product of personal discipline, personal focus, determination. She has all gadgets at her hand. She limits her presence on social media to achieve what she has. Prima, you have really encouraged us. Nabisunsa Girls School is a Muslim school.
Nice.
Tell us about your work there. I know you're a Christian. What did you do? How did it happen in Nabisunsa? There's only a mosque.
Nabisunsa, first of all, even if it's a Muslim school, they respect other religions. For example, Anglicans and Catholics. So every Sunday, we used to go to Chambogo University, the Catholic chaplaincy, the Catholic church, then also the Anglican church. So the Anglicans would go to the Anglican church and the Catholics would go to the Catholic church. So the mass used to begin at 7. So in the morning, we used to have jogging from 5 to 6. So at 6, we prepare ourselves. We have to be at the gate by 6:45. So we walk up to the Catholic church in Chambogo. So we pray. If you want to have penance, if you want to see the priest, there is always time. They always give us that time to associate with God depending on our religions.
Why didn't you stay in the dormitory on a Sunday? Why did you still wake up and go to Chambogo? And there are some Catholic students who didn't go.
Yes, of course they are there.
What kept you in pace with church?
I love God and I felt there was something missing if I hadn't gone to church. I would feel like something is taunting me if I didn't go to church on Sunday. So I made sure I always go.
When we raise our children, we need to train them to go to church early enough. That's what pushed Prima even when she was in school. For her, it was part of her life. And she says she loved God. So Prima, we want to celebrate your results.
Thank you so much.
We want to celebrate your results. When the results came out, give us, just in 2 minutes, what was your experience in the first 2 days? Prima has 10 in 8.
At first I was shocked.
Ooh.
I couldn't believe it at first, but then I sat down and asked myself, are these really my marks? But then I remembered what I went through and all. It was just bringing joy and happiness to my heart, and I said, I knelt down and I thanked God, thanked my parents for supporting me and saying me, encouraging me, not losing hope in me, yes, and staying focused.
Wow. Where do you want to go for high school, Prima? Where do you want to do your A-levels? Are you seated at home? Is Prima seated at home? Is she already reading? Just in a minute, Prima.
Well, I hope to go to King's College, Budo for my A-level.
King's College, Budo.
Yes. And I've realized that we may not go back to school anytime soon, so I've gone ahead to study what my combination. I'm going to do PCM, so I've gone ahead to study, to go and study, of course, in those subjects to keep up.
So you're already attending A-level physics, A-level chemistry, and A-level maths classes?
Yeah.
So if you're watching this program and you're in senior 4 back, you're planning to go to senior 5, Prima might do 2 terms of work at home and she will come to school for revision. I want to encourage each of you young people out there and parents that let's get our children studying, let's use all available means. And I want to thank Prima so much for coming and sharing with us her success. You see that she's putting effort. Prima actually gets on a border, whether it's raining, or it is shining and there are enough cars in their home. If she was to be stubborn, she would insist that let me be taken. Prima, thank you for being a very disciplined child. Thank you for being a role model. Girls out there, chemistry is possible. Today our program was to promote chemistry, but also to encourage you that 10 in 8 is possible even in a government school, and God bless you. Right TV Uganda Youth and Prominence Program. I'm Sarah Byamkama, your host. Find us on all social media platforms. Thank you.